got something. I wanna hold your hand.
It's been over 5 decades since the Beatles played their final notes together, but their music and their story still lives on in the heart of millions. For those who grew up with the band's harmonies as the soundtrack of their youth, the breakup felt personal. At 82, Paul McCartney is finally setting the record straight about what really caused the end of the Fab Four. And it turns out, the truth is far more layered than we thought. For years, Yoko Ono was cast as the villain. Her presence in the studio during the recording of the White Album raised eyebrows and created discomfort, especially for McCartney. He once called her an interference in what was, until then, a sacred creative space for the 4 bandmates. Fans and media alike latched onto this narrative, blaming her for the group's unraveling. But now, McCartney admits that wasn't fair. In recent interviews and on his podcast, A Life in Lyrics, he's opened up about the complexities behind the breakup, offering a far more nuanced view. Yes, tensions grew. John Lennon's priorities were shifting as his bond with Ono deepened, and she became an integral part of his creative process. But McCartney has come to understand that Lennon needed that space, and that Yoko's presence, while unusual, wasn't inherently destructive. In fact, he's even said they were a great couple, a strong couple. The cracks in the Beatles' foundation had started forming well before Ono entered the picture. Creative differences were growing. Lennon was drawn to avant-garde expression, while McCartney preferred structured melodies and polished production. George Harrison, too, was feeling sidelined despite emerging as a formidable songwriter. He was tired of taking a back seat to the Lennon-McCartney machine, even walking out of a session in frustration. Outside the studio, things were just as turbulent. The 1967 death of manager Brian Epstein left a void none of them could quite fill. When Alan Klein stepped in to manage the band's affairs, McCartney strongly objected, favoring a different direction. This disagreement spiraled into legal battles, eventually leading to Paul suing the other members just to keep control of his own work. It was a bitter, isolating time. McCartney retreated to Scotland, where he grappled with depression, identity, and the fear that his musical journey might be over. He turned to alcohol to cope, unsure of what came next. It was Linda McCartney's encouragement that helped him rediscover his passion, setting the stage for his solo career and the birth of Wings. Over the years, McCartney has softened his stance, not just on Yoko, but on the entire chapter. He now sees that the breakup wasn't about one person or one fight. It was the result of 4 men growing in different directions under the weight of fame, pressure, and changing lives. The Beatles had simply outgrown being the Beatles. Today, McCartney shares these reflections not with bitterness, but with clarity. He's cleared Yoko's name, recognizing that blaming her was a convenient oversimplification for something far more complex. The real story is one of evolution, of letting go, and of finding new paths after something extraordinary comes to an end. And for those who lived through it all, it's a reminder that even legends are human. And sometimes, moving forward means finally telling the truth about the past.